Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time stopping by. Today we're going to be doing a walkthrough and a chit chat. Not quite a first impressions because I've actually used these two decks quite a bit at this stage, but we're going to be going through the Quietrebel Tarot and the Quietrebel Oracle, both by Lynn Thurman. Now, before we get into this, just a quick little introduction. Hello, my name is Lisa. I am a content creator here on YouTube, obviously making videos about tarot and divination things, but I'm also a tarot deck creator myself, as well as an author. I will throw a graphic up so you can take a look at some of my work and where you can get it. But without further ado, we're going to get into this. Now, I have put my Quietrebel Tarot back in order so we can do a pretty thorough walkthrough. The Oracle is in whatever order it was in because it's not numbered and it's probably alphabetical, and I just didn't want to. So we're going to go through this in like a miscellaneous order, but we are going to walk through both decks, starting with the Tarot. Now, actually, the Quietrebel Oracle came out first, and this one was printed in China. The Quietrebel Tarot came out second, and this one was printed in the UK. So there was some tariff concerns and things like that. So there is a cardstock difference between the two. I will say I far preferred the cardstock on the China printed version of the deck, or on the China printed Oracle, I should say. But both are good. It's just that I prefer this cardstock. So we'll talk about that a little more when we get into the Oracle. But let's start with the Tarot. Now, the box here has a slight linen finish, which is kind of nice. Both decks are just lift tops, but no thumb cutouts. So, but they're very loose, easy to pull off lids in both cases. So I don't think you'll have any trouble. But still, I do prefer, if possible, some thumb cutouts. Now in here, obviously we have the cards, and then we also have a little like pamphlet-y deal, which has a QR code for more information and a little bit of a, just like a quick little single sentence meaning for every single card. I don't think you really need that in this deck, but it's there if you want it. And this is the backings. Now the cardstock for this one feels quite stiff, and I will say a bit cardboardy. So just be aware that's sort of the feel. It does have some snap, and I haven't had too much trouble shuffling it, but it is a stiff shuffler. There's no edging or anything like that on the cards. So you don't have to worry about it like any metallic stuff biting into your hands. But it does feel like the kind of cardstock that if you bend it just right, it's going to like snap and crease. I don't know if that's true. That's just how it feels on handling. That said, I did riffle it, and it felt better to riffle than the first textured tarot. If you know that deck, that's a bit of a point of reference. I don't know exactly what you would call this cardstock. It is a sort of classic finish. It's not perfectly matte, but it's also not glossy. And that about covers it for the cardstock on the tarot. And actually, just for the point, just so we can do the comparison, let's briefly talk about the cardstock on the Oracle. I know I said I was going to save that for the end, but here we are. Now this cardstock, by contrast, has quite a bit of bend to it and what feels like a matte laminated finish. So it almost has that slightly waxy feel, but it's nice, like it's smooth, and it's quite a bit more matte. You can see as I tilt them in the light that this has a fully matte finish, and this has just that little bit of classic shine of a standard finish, I would say. Something like a classic finish, not matte or glossy. And so the fact that this is more bendy, so by comparison, let me just show you. Let me just play a little bend here. So that's about as much as I feel comfortable like trying to make it bend. I could force it a little bit more, but it doesn't feel natural to make this stock bend. Whereas this one, I know that I can bend it and it feels fine. Now, keep in mind that because this is a larger format, it's going to have more movement. That's just natural. So the smaller a deck gets, the less bend it's going to have. That's just part of it too. But yeah, between the two, far prefer this. It is kind of a bummer that she had to switch printers for the tarot, but that is what happens when the trade landscape is all over the place. So that's kind of a bit of a comparison for you that way. Now, I'm going to zoom us in, and we're going to go through these card by card. I will say the first thing that comes to mind with this is that people that loved the idea of, say, the millennial tarot, but the millennial tarot was like not for you because you're not a millennial, or because you didn't really jive with the sayings, or you didn't like the art, which could go a little uncanny valley. It was an AI art deck. And if you didn't want to buy that for that reason either way, I feel like this is really great because we have here a deck that has great sayings. It's collage, but it's very contained collage, which if you've been watching my channel for a bit, you probably know I like collage that's fairly contained. I find it really easy to read, particularly when it's very intentional. And here, Lynn Thurman, the creator of this deck, has put a lot of thought into what's on the card, and it feels very easy to look at it and know what you're looking at. Like, I don't necessarily need the title to know that that's the Fool, if that makes sense. Like, it's helpful because it is collage, but I find it very easy to work with. it like visually. It's fun, it's playful. We've got this combination of this like black and white, like vintage photography with these collaged elements, like I would say digital collaged elements, I believe, but don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% sure on the creation of the deck, but that's how I would view it. Anyways, and then so you have the title of the card, but the larger text here is going to be a title, and that title is often fun, playful, sometimes funny, and often really great at getting to the heart of what she's trying to communicate in each of these cards. And it's really great if you're newer to tarot. Like, you know, I like things like this. I created the Sassy Dragons Tarot with my wife, Peggy, and that also has meanings kind of right on the card. This is like a step back from that, a little more pared back, less words, but very punchy and easy to follow. So with that said, let's dive into it. So we're beginning with the Fool, who is the free radical. I love that the baggage is here, but it's kind of being left on the side. And actually, it's almost like she's in line to jump off this cliff, and she's first, and she's just going for it. So this isn't even her suitcase. It's being held by this, don't quote me on animal identification, y'all, because I'm like notoriously terrible at it, but a kangaroo, maybe it almost looks like, that's kind of holding a suitcase, almost like they're waiting their turn to jump off the cliff. But she's like, nah, man, I don't need anything, and she's about to just go for it. The Hustler for the Magician. I think this is great. We have a fox here. We have a bag of tricks. We have a magician's hat. And so you get this vibe of leaning a little bit less into the manifestation angle of the magician and more into sort of that trickster energy. And that's great because that is an aspect of the magician. And I think sometimes we nice wash the card a little, but the magician at its heart in like the older decks was a street performer, was somebody who was doing one thing and kind of using sleight of hand. And maybe, you know, if you've ever watched a street performer, a lot of what they do is to get you to look in one direction while they pull something off in a different direction. That's how magic works. And so seeing this aspect of the magician is great because we don't often get to see that. So I love it. Third Eye Spy for the High Priestess is fabulous. These look like lava lamps with goldfish in them. She's got her little umbrella, and I'm trying to see, it might be easier to see on camera what she's holding in her hand, and I cannot for the life of me tell right now. I like her appearance. I like how like sort of sly. She looks like somebody who knows secrets. She's got a bit of that like Mona Lisa smile aspect going on. We got this big sort of third eye and all these like psychedelic colors kind of behind her. We definitely get the idea that this is somebody who is tapped into her intuition and like kind of reminds you of like a quirky aunt. I love it. The Badass Gardener for the Empress. Like she's literally in the middle of this lush gardener and I love that. She's kind of holding a little trowel and a watering can. There's fruit around her, there's bees, there's leafy plants and butterfly and a big macaw. This actually is great because this reminds me of, there's a solarium you can visit in the Vancouver area that is filled with beautiful plant life, and it's very tropical and kind of humid, and in there they also have several parrots that's their home, and you get to like see them and sort of interact with them. It's fabulous. Several of them will talk to you. They'll say good morning, or depends on the day. Sometimes they're quieter, but any case, it kind of reminds me of that space. So she feels very lush. She feels like she's very much nurturing what she's growing, and I love that. The Badass Gardener is just a great title for her. The Rule Breaker for the Emperor, which is so funny because we often think of the Emperor as structure and authority, and that's true, but usually you get, I mean, the fact that he's just here in his tidy whities just cracks me up. And if you needed a card to sort of like take some of the intensity, I guess, out of the Emperor for you, maybe you often like feel a sort of a disconnect with this card because it feels like he's just some authoritarian figure. This really tips that on its head a little bit and gives you another way to look at him, which I really love. At the end of the day, most people who are in a position of authority get there by being innovative in some way or challenging the system. And here's somebody who broke rules but now is finding themselves in a place of authority. They found a way to be in that leadership position without just doing what everybody else did. So, and I don't know what kind of animal that is. It's cheetah or jaguar. Like I said, my animal identification is terrible, but he's got his crown. He's literally broken the ruler. I think that's great. I think it's great. The Unofficial Guide as the Hierophant. This is so fun. I don't know what kind of birds these are. And again, there's nothing in the guidebook to really tell me, and I don't think it really matters. Maybe it does. Lynn, if you watch this, let us know if it matters, if the animals are like very significant. Actually, I should check the little guidebook pamphlet because it does say download the guidebook from my website. Actually, I'm going to do that because I don't know if it's the same as this pamphlet, but I'm assuming it's a little more in depth. So let me just see what that does for us. I guess I need my camera. I don't do QR codes very often. Okay, well, I will report back about the guidebook because it's taking forever to download on my phone. I'm not sure what the deal is there. But anyway, so the unofficial guide, the Hierophant. So here we have somebody who literally looks like they're going to lead you around. They're going to show you your way, the way around. They've got all these flags. They look like somebody who maybe like reads travel books for like a living and or like for a hobby and is like prepared with all these like nerdy details of wherever you find yourself. So there's this element of like tradition, yes, in the sense that somebody's gone before and they kind of know the way and they're going to show you the way, but it's very non-religious, it's very non-spiritual, which is an interesting take on the Hierophant, and I think one that some folks would really, really appreciate. I love this, the risky business, the lovers. It's great to see a vintage photo with two men as the lovers, and no apologies, no alternatives. I think that's great. We don't get to see this super often, so I do really like decks that decide to go a different way with the lovers. It's not that I always need that or always want that, but it's just fun to see a loving long-term relationship pictured in a different way. And the risky business, this is interesting. Sorry, let me back up. The risky business for me, this makes me think, especially with this particular couple, of the ways in which what we commit to long-term comes with an element of risk, because whatever we choose in that element, whatever we do, whatever path we go down is going to have a long-term impact on our life. And so that can go well, that could go poorly. We might have regrets, we might not. But the idea for me with the lovers is always about that aspect of choice and commitment and the ways in which it's going to change our lives in one way or another. And so acknowledging the risk in that, I think, is really great. I was so happy about this Chariot card because it's got the movement, it's got the dark and the light, we've got the chaos, it's called the Wild Ride. She's like surfing. What do you call this? Surfboard? What's the word? There's a word when you're like wakeboarding? I forget what it's called. Anyway, I think it's wakeboarding. Anyways, she's being pulled behind two seahorses and she's on the water. She's on the water. The Chariot is the card associated with the sun sign Cancer, and it's so often missing the water, and I love this. I'm very, very pleased with it. The Beast Whisperer. Oh, actually, sorry. Let me go back to Wild Ride for a second, because it also occurred to me. The Chariot energy is kind of a wild ride. We are trying to sort of harness the energy. We are trying to kind of like bring different things into balance that are maybe a little bit chaotic or maybe difficult to harness and get focused on. So I like that too. Okay. The Beast Whisperer for strength. This is great. The Beast Whisperer, yes, because of course the idea is that we want to communicate with and befriend the beast. We don't want to just dominate the beast. At least that's my take on the strength card. The Solo Mission for the Hermit. This lady's great. I love these little pops of color we get, like the little headband, and we have a kitty here with her. See, I did this too in my Unicorn's Journey Tarot. I put a little cat, a little barn cat in with my main character in the Hermit. And I think that's because I like having a little companion or some energy that reminds us that we're never completely alone. And I like that we get that here. I really do. So solo mission, but also a little bit of company along the way. The Cosmic Roulette for the Wheel of Fortune. I love a little ladybug. She's there for, I'm assuming, to be a symbol of luck, of course. And then we have the stack of coins. We have the roulette wheel, and he's kind of using it like something he's peeking through, and he's become the wheel. He's like, his face is in the center of it. So there's a lot for me to work with here intuitively. But at the end of the day, the Wheel of Fortune is a shift. It's a change. And there's an element of sort of spinning the wheel, and just we're going to have to wait and see how it goes. The Karma Cop for Justice is great. He literally looks like a constable or something. Again, is this an ibis? I don't know. I'm going to stop. I shouldn't even guess. I don't know why I do it. I keep doing it. It's like a compulsion. I know I'm bad at it. I know somebody's going to make fun of me in the comments. And by the way, that doesn't bother me. And I know it. Like, it's like a running joke at this point, and I cannot stop myself. Like, I want to try. I just want to keep trying. One of these days I'll start getting them right. Like, that's what I'm thinking. Anyways, so here we have, I love the Karma Cop for Justice. It's about accountability. It's about what you reap is what you sow. And the Karma Cop for that is great. It's like somebody's coming along to make sure that you get your comeuppance either way, positive, neutral, or negative. The Reality Dropout for the Hanged Man, again, fabulous. We have these like little planets below him, and he's just like gazing at them, and he's up here, and he's like separate from the world. He's like pulling himself back. There's an element of, I like this because it cues us into the fact that there's a pause, but it also cues us into the fact that the Hanged Man is often there's a bit of rebellious energy there. There's a bit of like pushing back against something. Sometimes when you really dig into the history of the card, there's some layers there you can play with, but being a little bit checked out, yeah, that tracks for the Hanged Man. The End Game and its Death. This is so freaking great, and it's hilarious. First of all, we have some snakes down at the bottom that seem to be forming a figure 8. If you really follow the shape of these snakes, there's a figure 8 infinity symbol forming there. We have a video game or a show in the back that says game over, press something to play again, or to try again, press something to try again. We have this lady just sitting there on some poisonous mushrooms, sipping tea with her skeleton buddy. I mean, like, this is so freaking great. This is such a great way to embrace the energy, to go, okay, yep, gotta call it as I see it. This is an end of something, but it's something that we can befriend, make peace with, and engage with. I'm assuming that this other flower down here is probably also some sort of a poisonous plant, but like, I don't know. I'm going to see if this file ever downloaded. Hold on. Let's just see. Oh, it did. Sweet. Okay, cool. Let me open this. I feel like it's probably big, and that's why it took a minute. I'm just curious if any of the animals or plants are called out in here. Oh, we do get quite a bit. Okay, so I'm just going to show you on my phone real quick. You do actually get quite a bit in the digital guidebook. So if you really want to dig in, you're going to get more for sure. That's pretty great. It looks like this is actually laid out to go in a physical book, and I'm just guessing that because of the change in printer, Lynn had to pivot to a digital instead of a physical, because this looks laid out to be physical, and that's such a bummer for her. Maybe not. Obviously, you could print this yourself at home. But let's go down to the end game here, our death card. There it is. I'm just curious. So there isn't anything here. Oh, this is where the truth bombs are. I forgot about this. Yes. What am I clinging to that's already finished? So the truth bomb element is something that was in the physical guidebook for the Oracle, and I really loved that. Again, I really wish we had access to a physical guidebook. And it's possible, by the way, don't quote me on this. It's very possible there was one offered as an add-on or something, and I just didn't get it. That's quite likely if that was an option. So double check. There might be a way to get a hold of a physical guidebook, but we have Quietrebel Insight. So for death, the Quietrebel Insight is endings aren't failures, they're initiations. What dies isn't wasted, it's compost for the future. And then again, yes, we get the truth bomb. And we get keywords, upright, or core message, shadow side, etc. Okay, cool. So that's that. We have Temperance as our mad scientist. I mean, that's great. That brings in the alchemy vibe and energy of the Temperance card. So we're mixing and blending, which is something I happen to really, really like. It's something that I've incorporated into a deck that I'm working on right now, that sort of mixing and blending alchemy aspect of this card. So love that. Love the mad scientist vibes. Is that it's some sort of monkey adjacent creature, but I want to say, like, it's not a lemur. I know what those look like. They have the stripy tails. I feel like I should know what that is. Baboon? It's too small, right? I don't know. Maybe it's just a monkey. I don't know. Then we have the sticky situation, and we have the devil. And this is great because A, there's a swamp down here. There's a literal alligator or crocodile, alligator question mark, in the swamp. Our figure here looks fairly like well dressed, but also has some horns, I believe, on their head. So fun. I love the tower as the oh crap moment. Fabulous. Just fabulous. We see some destruction going on in the background. There's some butterflies or moths or something here in the front. The star as the eternal optimist. This little creature right here, again, I'm not 100% sure. Is it a mouse? I don't know. But there's a little creature down here and it's cracking me up. I love the sort of fireworksy almost element here of the star. Like, everything's hunky-dory, whether or not it is. There's a certain element of like, okay, sure, everything's great. It kind of feels like it's a little sarcastic, but like, it doesn't have to be. That's just a bit of fun I have with it. The Shadow Assassin as the moon, also great. I love these titles. I love these titles. Good vibes, the good vibes only for the sun. This is super cute. She's dancing on the top of like a flower petal. It looks like there's a beach ball. We've got a flamingo, I guess. Those are flamingos. I'm not 100% sure, but that's pretty great. Judgment, the checkpoint. This is really fun, actually. This literally feels like, so over here it says nothing to declare, and here it has goods to declare. And they have all of this paperwork, and it's giving the vibe of like having like a big receipt and having to take it to customs and have it get checked and like discuss it. And like, there's a little bit of an element here of like accountability. Again, it feels a little bit like more like traditional judgment in the sense of an accounting of behavior over time and like having to reckon with that. To me, that's more of the justice element. So I think that could create some confusion. But at the end of the day, here's what I like about this, and that kind of I focus on when I pull this card. You get to this checkpoint, you have a choice. You can go back the way you've always come, or you can go back the way you've always went, is I guess what I say. So I kind of see the red as like going backward, or you can choose to move forward and actually go ahead and go the new way. That's kind of how I see that. Love the mic drop as the world. I love the look on this guy's face. And I was like, aha, like I've just had my moment. It's fabulous. Okay, that brings us to the wand suit. So we have the big bang for the Ace of Wands. I love this. I love the fireworks moment. I love the different directions you can take that as a reader. That's something else about these sayings, is that the titles or whatever, they don't feel super limiting. They're still open. They're still expansive. And I love that. So this says for the Two of Wands, we have the edge of mayhem. And it seems almost a little happenstance, a little bit chaotic, a little bit almost fool vibes, which is not actually how I see the Two of Wands. But when I think about this, the edge of mayhem, that's sometimes how it feels to be in the Two of Wands. Let me see if I can articulate this. So the Fool is perfectly happy to take chances and to just kind of put themselves out there and like go like, I'm just going to do my own thing. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to try something. The Two of Wands, rather, is somebody who's usually like teetering between what is safe and comfortable and the ways in which they want to extend themselves, the ways in which they want to branch out, try something new, do something new, learn something new. And it can feel a little bit like a fool moment, but one that like you're not sure yet if you're embracing. So there's this kind of weeble wobble to it. And I feel that when I look at this image, which is kind of great. Mayhem city limits. Like you get to decide, you're going to go into mayhem or you're going to stay where it's safe. What you going to do? One shoe off, one shoe on. Like it's got that kind of feel. The Three of Wands as the great escape. I don't love this image. I get it in the sense that in the Three of Wands, it's like we're putting ourselves out there. She's got her passport. She has a key to this gate. This actually, if I'm looking at it this way, this feels more like the energy of the Two, if I'm being completely honest. Because in the Two is where we're sort of hesitating, like we're going to go, but we're on that cusp. But in the Three, we're going. Like we've already made the decision and we're going. And I guess you can also make the argument here for that she's getting out of there. Like whatever this is, wherever she's been stuck, she's going now. She's made the decision. She's got her passport. She's prepped. She's got her boarding passes. She's ready to go. And her suitcase that she's sitting on. So I can make a case for it, but I prefer to see a Three of Wands that's more obvious. And this big locked gate here, I think it does throw me a little bit. Like, again, I've had no problem reading with this deck in general. These are just nitpicky things that I would point out on a walkthrough. The after party, the Four of Wands. I mean, that's great. That's exactly the vibe. It's like we've done a bunch of stuff. We're going to celebrate, but that doesn't mean there's not more work to be done. I love this Five of Wands, the power struggle. This is like that competing energy. And it's all these people who are doing the competing. So it's like you're trying to cut through the noise, but it sort of puts you outside of the conflict and the competing, which is really interesting. A lot of Five of Wands cards, we assume, or at least I assume as a reader, that we're in that conflict. But I found myself reading this like you're having to cut through all the other people sort of clamoring for you right now, because these signs say, I'm the one, pick me, you need me, I'm here for you, choose me now. And it's like you're the rope in a tug of war. In fact, I remember saying that in a reading when I used this during my member readings, and that's the feeling I get when I look at this card. So it's a little bit of a different perspective on the Five of Wands, and I love that, actually. The rising star for the Six of Wands. There's that sense of acknowledgement. We have like this movie star. We have the whatever you call these clap boards or whatever they are. There's an Emmy, it looks like, or Golden Globe Award or whatever that she's got her hands on. I mean, like, that's fabulous. I love that. The uphill battle for the Seven of Wands. I mean, all these hornets, there's a piece of dynamite on this person's back that's lit, so it feels like there's limited time, but definitely trying to hold your own among, like, when there's a lot coming at you. That's valid. That's valid. The fast track for the Eight of Wands. We get this like speed skating, like speed ice skating kind of vibe here, and it's like they're on a roller coaster. I like that because one of the things I talk about with the Eight of Wands is that it often feels like something is put into motion and it's taking on a life of its own now. So it's like what you set out is going to have a ripple effect. The last one standing for the Nine of Wands, and it's all these like little toy soldiers just all falling down, and this person's like not giving up yet. They're still fighting. The overload for the Ten of Wands. This one actually is so interesting to me because I actually read the image wrong the first couple times I worked with it. I really thought that this guy was like the one holding up this like basket that's full of whatever it is that is on fire right now. So there's a lot of like elements of that you can read into here, and that she's holding this feather and she's like just balancing on one foot, super la-di-da. I didn't see that she was also helping to hold up the basket. So he's standing there all dignified, one hand up, holding the basket. She's holding the basket with one hand, holding a feather with the other, balancing on one foot. It's a little bit much, right? But the first time I read this, I didn't see her holding it up. And I'm like, oh, he's holding the whole load. And she's just standing there like with her little feather, not really helping. There's a whole lot of ways you can kind of play with this energy or this particular image. And it was really delightful to me when I realized there was more to the story than had first met the eye. So I really love that. The flamethrower as the Page of Wands. I mean, need I say more? This is like a kid dressed up like in what looks to be maybe a clown outfit, performing, right? Like doing a little performance with literally throwing fire. Love it. The Blaze Runner, Knight of Wands, and he's a runner. He's leaping over some kind of a hurdle or whatever, and only here it's a gate. It's like a gate blocking him, and I think it's that idea that like nothing will stop the Knight of Wands. If he decides he wants to go do something or she decides she wants to go do something, that's it. Get out of their way, because they will leap over anything in their path. For good or for bad. The hot shot for our Queen of Wands. Like, she knows. Like, you do not mess with her. You can just tell. It's all over her face. She's got that, like, what do you call it? Resting bitch face. But in the best way. Like, she's got that, like, don't fuck with me. I shouldn't probably swear. She's got that look, you know? Okay. The Pioneer for the King of Wands. Great title for the King of Wands. I think that if this is a deck you're curious about, just these titles alone for the courts, I think this is a deck that would be really helpful for demystifying the court cards. If you're really trying to understand them as archetypes and personalities, decks like this are so great for that. Okay, we have the heart opener for the Ace of Cups. She's got a can of love. She's going to open it. It is what it is. I mean, this is brilliant. I love it. I love that she's like basically in her pajamas, like, or at least it looks like she's in her pajamas. It's great. The Sweet Exchange, the Two of Cups. I mean, this is incredible. I love the vibes. They're on candy, a candy cane. They're like eating donuts. They're dancers. Like it's great. The Fun Slingers for the Three of Cups. They are partying and they are not afraid to show it. There's like a tiki mask, question mark. I don't know if that's what you call those. There's the buntings up top. There's flowers. It looks like they're on like a vacation. They're at some kind of party. Love it. The plot hole for the Four of Cups is incredible. It's like you've lost the plot. You've lost the plot. This says, where did the story go? An unfinished mystery. This explains so much. It's like we feel, in the Four of Cups, we often do feel a little bit lost, a little like we've lost the plot. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what's going on? And there's a feeling of like melancholy or ennui that comes about from just like having lost direction in a lot of ways, or lost touch with what we're supposed to be doing or what is meant for us. The letdown, the Five of Cups. Oh, I don't know if this image is giving me a ton. It's reminding me of like the corded phone is just, it looks like it's been cut actually, but I'm not 100% sure on this one, but the letdown in general for the Five of Cups, I think that works. The time capsule for the Six of Cups. This is great. This is summers and pools, and the ice cream man came and we got a lollipop, or not a lollipop, but a popsicle. So great. This is definitely looking back on simpler times. The Wild Goose Chase for the Seven of Cups. Like, such a great title. Literally a guy chasing a goose. That's hilarious. There's like a V formation of geese flying through the air. Lots of botanicals and stuff. But yeah, we're chasing geese. I mean, that's what the Seven of Cups is, right? It's a wild goose chase. The Eight of Cups as the done and dusted. I love that phrase, by the way, done and dusted. It's in my vernacular. It's something I say. And I think it works really great for the Eight of Cups. It's like, we've put all this energy into it. It's done now. We need to walk. Like, that's done. It's done and dusted. The Wish Granted for the Nine of Cups. I love that we have this sort of like moment where it says terms and conditions apply on this magic lamp. There's an element here of getting what you wish for, but that can sometimes not be ultimately what you're after. I don't know. For me, the Nine of Cups is definitely, yes, there's wish granted, but for me, it's much more about finding peace and contentment within ourselves. The only critique I have of this is that, and this is 100%, as all of this is, just my opinion and my personal preference, I prefer when the Nine of Cups shows just one figure finding peace or contentment by themselves. That's not the correct view of the card. That's just my personal view of the card, if that makes sense. So this is very valid. I like it the most when there's only one person. The Happy Little Cult for the Ten of Cups cracks me the heck up. It cracks me the heck up. I love this so much. It's like a group of kids. They're dancing on top of like what looks to be like a birthday cake. That's where our rainbow is coming in. We got a rainbow in the background too. All these colored sprinkles. Everything is hunky-dory. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like toxic positivity, which is a danger in the 10 of Cups, if we're being real. The 10 of Cups is like a super blissful, happy moment, but a lot of us go around life chasing that moment when it's not that attainable most of the time. For most of us, this 9 of Cups is the peak joy moment in our lives, and we maybe get little glimpses of this. But thinking that this is how it's supposed to be all the time, that's cult thinking, and I love that. I love the happy little cult. That cracks me up. Okay, our court cards for the Cups. We have the Heart Stirrer for the Page of Cups, like that is adorable. The Mood Rider for the Knight of Cups, literally being led by his heart, or in this case, hearts. The Tide Turner for the Queen of Cups. She's got this like hourglass of water with fish in it, and she's in the water. She's very of the water. I love that. And the Peacekeeper for the King of Cups. I mean, I feel like these titles are very on point. Now we're into the swords, and we have the Spark of Madness. I think this is such an innovative choice for this card because, of course, the Ace of Wands is often that like spark of idea, thought. It's a new truth. It's a bolt of lightning hitting us. It's insight. And sometimes these are truths we don't want to know. So the Spark of Madness is such a great way to look at that. The Turning Point for the Two of Swords. So correct. Like the reason we feel stuck is because we know whatever we choose, something's going to change, and we're resisting that a lot of times. At least that's my opinion about the Two of Swords, and you really see that reflected here. And look, we don't have a super boring Three of Swords. We have the Heartquake, which I think is such a powerful term. Instead of heartbreak, we have the heartquake. Something's shaken us, and we need to process it before we can move forward. The Four of Swords, the nap is calling, is hilarious. To me, a lot of times this is that reminder that like if you don't rest, something in your life or health is going to make sure you rest. The Five of Swords is the hollow victory. Brilliant again. You've maybe won, but you've maybe lost as well. Like maybe you won the fight, but you lost your friend or you lost your relationship or whatever. There's a warning here against making sure you're not, you know, if you're like, is that really the hill you want to die on kind of thing? The exit strategy, the Six of Swords. I love this up and away of the balloon swing, like kind of like raising her up like a hot air balloon ride, but on a swing. I think that's super cute. I love the fact that there's this bird cage that is open. So there's a sense of freedom and having gotten away from something, which I think is perfect. The Sneaky Bastard, Seven of Swords. This one just is so hilarious. His face is great. His energy is great. What's on the card is great. And it's literally what I call the Seven of Swords. Sneaky Bastard alert. Or, you know, I think that's literally what I say. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I call him a sneaky bastard all the time. But the Seven of Swords, something's going on. Somebody's looking sus, right? And it's going to be up to you to determine, are you making incorrect assumptions or are they actually being sus? The Mind Maze for the Eight of Swords. This is where the stuckness comes in, right? There's so much going on. There's so many thoughts. There's so many ideas. There's so much swirling around that there's this feeling of being trapped. So Mind Maze is great. The Nine of Swords as the panic button. Man, that is so on point. It speaks to the anxiety. It speaks to the fear. It's especially here we see it's probably unfounded. And then 10 of Swords, the bitter end, you know, fighting till the bitter end, working till the bitter end. But a bitter end is not necessarily a great thing. Like we don't want to always push it to the bitter end, but sometimes that's exactly where we find ourselves. And here we are. All right, here's our court cards for the swords. We have the Peace Disruptor for the Page of Swords, which is, man, that's so on point. I love that it's a little paper boy. That's super cute. The Storm Chaser for the Knight of Swords. Yeah, he is not shying away from conflict. He's usually diving right into it, so that's valid. The Sharpshooter for the Queen of Swords, like, and then this little TV says the truth can hurt. Like, this is like, she can get right to the heart of it with her words. The Mastermind, King of Swords. Adore this. I adore this. And you can tell their strategy. This reminds me of one of those pegboards with like the try to solve a case or whatever, and he's got this magnifying glass and he's looking at a book, so he's gonna get to the bottom of it. All right, and that brings us to our Pentacles. So Ace of Pentacles is the wild idea. I don't also really love that for the Ace of Pentacles. It feels so dynamic. It feels a little bit, the wild idea makes me think a little more swordsy, but it's pretty clear we're in a Pentacles card, and this big bag of seeds, I think, gives me something as a reader to focus on instead of the words in this case. So I think that works great. And oftentimes, yeah, there is something kind of like that seems a little crazy about the new start that the Ace of Pentacles can often be heralding. Love the Beautiful Mess for the Two of Pentacles. Like, this is literally the Hot Mess Express card, and I love it. It's perfect. The work in progress, they're carving pumpkins and the Three of Pentacles, and they're clearly helping each other. I think that's great. The security blanket for the Four of Pentacles is so on point. I love it. I love it. And see what I mean, hopefully, is that like just going off of the visuals, this isn't a deck I would immediately gravitate to. It's the combination of the visuals. There's a lot of humor in this deck. There's a lot of irreverence in a way that I think makes it fun to read with and very chatty when you're working with it. So this is the casualty for the Five of Pentacles. And then we have the tip jar for the Six of Pentacles. The waiting game is perfection for the Seven of Pentacles. All this references to time all around this character. The new recruit for the Eight of Pentacles. I don't know that it's very new, but I follow. It's like we're having to perfect the work. She is surrounded. That's a bottle of like fountain pen ink. There's like a stamp, one of those date stamps here, more ink here, a pencil, field notes. So there's this idea of like putting in the work and repeatedly putting in the work. It reminds me of writing, perfecting one's writing as we do over and over again by writing the same thing over and over again. Like if long form projects that require a lot of writing are like that, like draft upon draft upon draft. I say that as literally at the time I'm filming this, I'm working on like, I don't know, my third or fourth pass at the stories in my Convocation of Witches Tarot. And like each time they change, they morph a bit. And like at a certain point, you just got to call it done, you know, but I'm very much in the Eight of Pentacles right now with that project. The life upgrade, Nine of Pentacles. Love it. And this says, living my best life. Amazing. I love the vibes. The full house for the Ten of Pentacles. Again, very on point. And then our last set of court cards. So we have the seed sower for the Page of Pentacles. I think that's very apt. The steady plotter for the Knight of Pentacles. Again, very, very apt. Very steady, but slow is that character. The nest maker for the Queen of Pentacles. Love the eggs. And then the Empire Builder for the King of Pentacles. All right, so let me give this a quick shuffle so you can kind of see what that experience is like. So I can get it to bend, and I can get a good mix, and I can get a bridge. It's just stiff. Like if you know some of the like stiffer US games decks, if you felt one of those, for example, and this is me speaking to like more collector types, but like if you imagine like a stiffer US games deck, but thicker, it feels like that. So it isn't the most comfy shuffle. And if my hands were sore or something, I think I would find it very challenging to riffle and bridge it at all, if I'm being completely honest. But it has the kind of finish, oh, see, it has the kind of finish where it's really smooth. So it does hand over hand very, very nicely. So this kind of shuffle is really, really, really easy. It's got enough sturdiness that this kind works really, really well. So if that's your preferred method of shuffle, I think you'll be fine. For riffle and bridge, it's going to be case by case how it feels, but it does require, I feel it in my hand muscles, you know, and it's not as bendy as I would prefer, but that gives us the vibe on the tarot. All right, so we're going to swap out now to the Oracle, and then we'll look at them together. So the Oracle, we do get a physical guidebook. And again, I really wish we had this for the tarot. I really, really do. And again, at the time I'm filming this, I haven't looked to see if there's a physical guidebook you could buy. But this has the writing of the guidebook, and then it has a declaration of defiance and a truth bomb for every card. And I find these really great. But that's the anatomy of the Oracle. But these cards are great. So we're going to do a quick little flip through. So we have same kind of vibe as with the tarot, right? You have a title, and then you have underneath that, here we have the fun title and then the actual name of the card. In the Oracle, you have the fun title and then a keyword. So here we have the underdog, and it says underestimation. It says winner, winner, chicken dinner on her bag. We've got wolves on either side. So again, underdog. She was outnumbered, but she got it. She figured it out. Time bandit, boundaries. Love that. Escape hatch, freedom. We have like things closing in on her here. We've got like what looks like almost like maybe some kind of dragon and a snake or something. And she's about to like dive through this hatch and like go someplace safer. There's even what looks like a spider web up here. So yeah, getting away from the ick. Here and I didn't show you the backs. We have truth bombs on the back of here, and we have truth, a different kind of like truth dynamite on the back of the tarot. So these are fun. The backs are quite fun. Rebel without applause, kindness. The great unplug, detachment. And I just find these just are very effective. Connect to the limitless, and we have potential. Open your eyes, awakening. Ghosts of expectations, unlearning. So unlearning how all those expectations that we have been thrust upon us. Necessary storm, transformation. Find your truth, inner guidance. I love this. I feel like the emphasis here is find your truth. This TV's been smashed, right? So it's this element of like, listen to yourself. Don't just listen to what you're fed, you know? Here we have wildfire, momentum. Love that. Queen bee, authority. Burn it down, release. I love all the matches and the fact that one is lit. The long game, strategy. We have chess pieces. I mean, like, it's very, very clever what you'll find on the cards to support the meaning. See beyond, and it's vision. There's a camera situation happening here. Reclaim the mundane, mindfulness. This to me reminds me a lot of the Osho Zen card, ordinariness. Face your demons, courage. They're like dancing with, they've befriended their demons. It's like a little bit here about the kind of shadow work that I like to do. Cosmic joke, humor. Dance in the rain, joy. I love this with the puddles and the rainbow umbrella. The uninvited guest, embrace disruption. Tribe of rebels, belonging. The art of disappearing, retreat. Unauthorized access, opportunity. So it says no unauthorized access, do not cross, but it's paired with opportunity. Like, what would happen if you go on the other side of where you think you're not supposed to go? Like, I think that's incredible. Cosmic permission slip, approval, go. This is great. This came up a couple times in readings for my members. Move like water, fluidity. This feels very much like going with the flow, like moving in alignment. Love that. Cut the cord, independence. Beware thought police. And this is autonomy. Love the tinfoil hat here. Not for sale, integrity. Unfinished symphony, acceptance. So good. The last laugh, triumph. Time bomb, urgency. Ticking time bomb. Ticking time bomb. Ugh. She's like planking over top of this like bunch of dynamite, and there's a clock. Oof. Sneaky tricks. We have cunning. There's poison here. There's like a mortar and pestle. She's sitting on top of an amanita mushroom. Behind here, there's pleasure, something cure. So yeah, definitely snake oil salesman situation. Nothing is normal, unconventionality. Again, adore. I love the purple elephant right here. Loophole, workaround. There's keys. This feels like a road opener kind of card. Rebel yell, truth telling. And there's our truth bomb in the deck. Masks off, authenticity. Yes. Love that. Embrace the scars, healing. Soul contraband, desire. Bloom in the cracks. I love this so much. Bloom in the cracks, resilience. Lost and found, rediscovery. Fork in the road, a literal fork in the road, cracks me the heck up. Anyways, this is Crossroads. Middle finger of love, loving. What does that say? Wait, loving. Oh, loving defiance. I thought it said loving defiance, but there was a clash here with one of these fence posts. But yeah, middle finger of love. It's so great. There's so much sass in this deck. Off the beaten path, we have exploration. The upside down, perspective shift. Everything around her is upside down. The secret garden, solitude. And dream thief, protection. Love that. And so for contrast, I'm just going to give this a quick shuffle. So much more bend. Again, it's bigger, so it's going to bend easier, but it's just a much comfier shuffle. This is a little bit of a grippier cardstock because it does have that matte lamination on it. At least it feels like it does. But let's do a quick little spread the way that I normally would, and I have. So I would like, the way that I've typically worked with these two decks is I'll pull a card for the Oracle. Oh my God, move like water again. In the center. And then I'll pull some tarot for either side. So I'm going to just cut this in 2 spots because I don't know how good of a shuffling job I did here. Perfect. So we have Move Like Water, the 4 of Wands, and the Hollow Victory, the 5 of Swords, and then going with the flow. And to me, this is kind of like, okay, you've already have success, but if you just go along with that, if you just kind of like rest on your laurels, if you just kind of like chill out, you're going to end up in a place where sure, you might continue to win, but it's going to not feel good anymore. We're going to have lost track of the meaning of it, the depth of it. So that's kind of how I'd possibly read that group of 3 cards. But just to give you an idea of how this looks overall together, let's just zoom out just a touch. Move my little candle over. And we'll just split the deck and take a look at the pairings. Like it just goes beautifully together. And I know not everybody likes to use decks like this together, but they are such a perfect pair and they work so well together. So here we have the sticky situation with the devil, rebel without applause, and the last one standing for the Knight of Wands. There's so much personality in these cards that they are so much fun to read. I feel like they speak, they're, like I said, really chatty, very easy to work with. I don't think you need both, but I really love both. And I did have a little bit of a play with Quietrebel Oracle before the tarot came in, but using them together has been an absolute dream. Now, if you have another deck that these might pair well with, like this might go really well with Scarab and Dahlia, for example, or if you have any of Lennox Reese's decks, I feel like they would really be cohesive with these, but maybe not. I don't have those, but that gives you an idea of what to expect from, oh, there we go, from the Quietrebel Tarot and Oracle. So thank you very much for hanging out with me for this walkthrough. This was very, very highly requested when I shared these decks, this one specifically in my recent deck roundup. I think this particular combo got the most requests for a walkthrough of everything else I showed. So it's clear y'all are interested in these. I will have them linked down below for you. Lynn Thurman shop. I don't know if she's currently shipping to the US or not. I know things are a little bit messy right now. Hopefully those things will get smoothed out soon. But again, thank you so much for hanging out. As always, an extra big thank you goes out to my Unicorn Fam channel members. Thank you so much for all of your support. And if you enjoyed this video, do click the like button, share it with a friend, hit the hype if you, I don't know what that is, but there's a new feature on YouTube called hype. I don't know what it does. I don't know, but I guess it's a YouTube-y thing you can do. Comment down below, subscribe, do all the things. It's really helpful for the channel. And until next time, may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye.